Hi coaches, my name is Rachel Harshfield and I am a 6-star diamond coach, and I've been a coach for just about a year, and I was asked to share a little bit about building your team and building relationships within your team and sharing some of my methods that I've used over the last year to build a team and keep my team and my team unity together. That being said, I just want to talk a little bit about team unity and how important that is. So in this business, it's a lot more than just, signing up people and getting Success Club points and, earning an income and earning rank and, doing all the great things that Beachbody coaches get to do. There's so much more to it than that. A lot of it is building a relationship with somebody and building trust. And in order to have a successful relationship and in order to have that loyalty within your team, you do have to establish trust. And trust does take time, and trust is not something that is just given, it's earned. And I try as hard as I can in our groups to establish that trust by making myself available for people. And when I have my initial meetings with people, I pretty much lay it out for them, in terms of the commitment that they're making to not just today and tomorrow, but it's a commitment that they're making for the rest of their life, and that they need to look at this as, they're making a decision to live a healthier life, and these are the steps that we're going to take in order to accomplish that. So I wanted to share a few slides with you that I kind of go back to every once in a while, and this first one is one that I probably end up doing this a lot more times than I may look like I do. So let me do a quick screen share. Okay, so I wonder what I need to do in order to do that. This is a lot of us, we're inside of this big, huge team, and we see rank advancements, and we see teams that are, getting together and doing some pretty amazing things together as a team. And we say to ourselves, how do I do that? How are they doing that? And what can I do to get myself and get my team there? So your first step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to empower your people. Part of leadership is empowerment, and what you give to them. The speed of the leader is the speed of the team. Speed of the leader, speed of the pack. It's kind of a saying that you've heard a lot in business. And basically what that means is that you are going to set the pace for them, and you're going to help them by being available for them and by building that trust. There's that word trust again, by answering their questions and by getting them started right, doing a getting started right call. And also we do this, we do these things by setting goals and being realistic with your goals, because if you're setting goals that are not realistic, it's pretty hard to achieve them. So when you set goals with your coaches, you want to ask them hey, okay, so what do you need to do at this point to achieve that? Okay, you want to go Emerald. Okay, so how are we going to do that? And all of this comes when you're doing these steps here is you start to build trust. So the reality is, how is it going to happen, and how is it happening now? Things happen. I mean, how many of us have lost coaches because, it was just not something they expected, or money got tight and they had to pull out of the coaching opportunity, and maybe they were just not, it wasn't cut out for them, and that's totally okay. And you want to make sure that you're still always building trust and keeping your relationship with that person and always keeping that door open. Options. What could you do? What could you do as their coach? What could you do as their leader? But how can you help them overcome some of those obstacles? Because we've all been through them. And as you're growing and as you're building your relationships with your coaches and you're developing that trust and that loyalty, you always want to have that option, that door, how can I help you? And then when they do ask you for help, what will you do? Will you help them, or will it become oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't help them with my problems. I've got, 4 other coaches that are about ready to go inactive. I got so much going on for myself. But you did make a commitment. And remember, let's go back up to right here. We are building trust. So if they need your help, it is very important that you hold your commitment, because we're building relationships, and building relationships builds trust. And that is where you get your ultimate growth. Tactics. How and when will we do it? That is a great place for me to be able to say, great, you need to know, like 4 of you need to have a similar information. We're going to do a team call tonight. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that after I go through this slide, about the importance of team calls and what that will do for you and for your team. And then habits. How will you sustain success? You know, people can achieve success overnight, but the most important thing is, how are you going to grow that success? And how are you going to cultivate that success through the legs of your team down into your coaches so that they can replicate what you've done in their own business? You know, we do a lot of celebrating of the results. We're all about celebrating results, whether it's your weight results or whether it's your, you know, your growth results in your business. We celebrate everything over here at Beachbody. We're all about celebrating, and we're all about uplifting and giving you guys the props. The important thing, though, is that you've got to start with building trust, because that builds relationships. Your relationships then builds growth, and then your growth, you're going to have results. And then you can celebrate the result, or celebrate the results of the results that you've accomplished. You know, someone really important to me once said to me that that you work so hard towards things that are hard, and that if anybody, like the hard things that you want in life aren't going to come to you easily. And that's why they're so important. Like, everybody wants those things. The things that everybody has are things that everybody wants. And those, let's say, for example, you're working towards, you know, wanting to grow a big team, and you see all these other leaders having these big teams, and you're like, I want that. How do I grow that? Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. So if you're seeing something from another coach and it's something that they resonate with you, that coach resonates with you, reach out to that coach. You know, even if it's not a coach that's above you, it's a coach that's maybe, you know, at the same level as you. It's called a success partner. And that's really important too, to have somebody that can push you, that can motivate you, and that will support you along on your journey. But let's talk about team calls. This kind of a thing is even so hard for me. It's so bright in this room, but even doing videos for me is very difficult. It's not something that I'm comfortable with, but it's something that is so important. It's very important to have this kind of a relationship and a rapport with your team. And I don't want to hear that, you know, oh, my team is, I don't have any working coaches. I only have 2, and I talk to them every day, and everybody else wants to be a discount coach. 2 of my most successful coaches right now were discount coaches. So discount coach or not, it does not matter. That coach has a commitment that they made to you and to themselves. They decided they were going to join your team, so that's their commitment to you. And you talk to them about becoming a coach. That's your commitment to them. So there's a trust there. So there's a relationship there. And if you want growth, you need to really continue to just water that. It's like planting seeds. You know, you got to water it. Now that your crop has grown and you're picking all the fruit from your crop, if you don't go back and keep watering, and refertilize that original tree, then it's going to die, and you don't want that to happen. So scheduling team calls is very important. Also, if I am in a challenge group and I start to see some of my people falling out, I'm the first one to call them out. Like, hey, haven't heard from you. Where are you? Like, what's going on? When people go MIA, it's generally because they've fallen off the wagon. So if you haven't heard from somebody in about 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 days in a challenge group, and they're one of your coaches and they start out strong and they've fallen off, then it's good business practice and it's good coaching practice to reach out to them and say, hey, come on. Now, I know some of you guys might be like, hey, well, this is their business and this is something that they've signed on to do. While that's true, it's very true, you also made a commitment to them to help them through this coaching journey. So, you know, running these groups, running a get started call, and maybe one of your coaches who was on the get started call needs a refresher. So, hey, let's do it again. Like, let's reestablish your goals. Let's go back to that original slide and let's say, okay, what are your goals? Just because you got there, let's go back there again. Just because you got there doesn't mean you're not going to go back there a couple, 2, 3 times throughout the process of being their coach. So, you know, okay, they hit their goals. Let's say they wanted to get to Ruby or Diamond, and now they're there. Okay, you get to Diamond, now what? Does it mean it stops at Diamond? Absolutely not. This whole process starts all over again, because with each coach, you're building trust, you're building a relationship, you're going down and you're developing that growth within your team, within their team, because they're going to take what you've done for them and they're going to replicate it inside of their teams. So for me personally, if I feel like my coaches aren't like connecting with their team, I partially take responsibility for that because it is my job as their leader and as their coach to make sure that they are getting all the information that they need in order to help support their teams internally, because that in essence is what their coaches are going to take and share it with their teams. So that's kind of what I do. It's a cycle for me. I don't ever come off the cycle. It's constant. You know, you set your goals, you make your priorities, you figure out how you're going to reach those goals, and then you figure out as your coach how you're going to help those coaches get through their goals. And then, you know, you just keep them accountable and you keep them growing. And then once they get there and they reach their goals and they hit their success, you celebrate them. But like I said, I have noticed the biggest growth in my team when I started doing this face-to-face stuff, and setting up times where we can get together, even if it's just 4 or 5 or 6 of us from our teams, just to get together, like meet that person face-to-face, or even if you're already friends and, you know, you haven't had a chance to, you know, maybe celebrate or get together just one-on-one, have some coffee. That FaceTime really does a lot for your business. It does a lot for your growth within your team. Relationships are so important. And what we do as coaches goes, like I said, far beyond the scale, far beyond the inches that are dropped, far beyond the rank advancements and the pay that we get paid. It really comes from your heart. And when you let that passion and when you let that just guide you, then it just multiplies in everything that you do. So I hope this helped you. And I hope that I'm not totally looking like Casper the Ghost, because from what I'm seeing on the screen, I look all really white and paley because it's so bright inside my office. So anyways, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. And I look forward to watching you guys grow through this whole process. Okay, bye guys.